Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Nahmaduhu wa nusalli ala rasulihil kareem. So moving on, we're now discussing the harfun jar of lam. So lam, the harfun jar of lam. So the meanings, the first meaning of lam he's mentioned is lil ikhtisas. So ikhtassa yakhtassu means to be specific, specified. Most books have two similar words. Some have lil milk, and then they have, along with milk, they have the word ikhtisas. Because milk means that you own something, and ikhtisas is that you don't own it, but it's like specific for you. So if we look, for example, here, al-jullu means a saddle. So al-jullu lil faras. Does the horse own the jull? It doesn't own it. This is ikhtisas. So the jull, the saddle, is specific to the horse. And al-malu li zaydin, Zayd owns the mal. This is like milk, ownership. So they're both the same. Alhamdulillah. So it's ikhtisas or it's milk. It's this, all this technical stuff. But ikhtisas or milk. So use ikhtisas when you can own, when you can't own it, and milk when you can own it. Okay. The next example we have is ta'leel, reason. Darabtuhu lit-ta'dibi. I hate him to teach him respect. There are other ways of teaching somebody, but this is an example that they've been using. An example of this is نزل الفرقان على عبده ليكون للعالمين نذيرا. Lam followed by harf masdar. This lam is for ta'leel, to show reason. So lam can also be used for ta'leel. وزائدة, meaning again it creates emphasis, but it doesn't have it creates emphasis, but it has no mahallul i'rab. So lakum ay radifa lakum ay radifakum. So this lam is extra because usually the word radifa comes with kum. Why is the lam being used? Then it's fawaid from balagha perspective. But here is za'idah in terms of the general usage. Radifa doesn't come with lam normally. Now what he's saying here, وَبِمَعْنَا أَنْ إِذَا اسْتُؤْمِلَ مَعَ الْقَوْلِ كَقَوْلِهِ تَعَالَى. And he gives an example, he says وَفِيهِ نَذْرٌ. Okay, when you have the word qala, okay, there's two things here. Qala comes with the word lam after, the harfun jar lam. Now, they call this lamut tabligh. Yes? What does lamut tabligh mean? That lam, which is basically in the meaning of two. Basically you're saying that my statement needs to reach the person I am saying. To qultu li Zaydin, I said to Zayd, I said, and my statement of ana uhibbuk fillah, that reached him, it approached him, it reached him. Basically what we said normal lam, they call it lamut tabligh. But if you look at it, sometimes the lam is not actually used for the mukhatab. So generally, so simply we can say the lam usually comes on the mukhatab when you have a fa'il. So when you have a fa'il, the lam usually comes on the mukhatab. So for example, قُلْتُ لِزَيْدٍ هَذَا لَكَ. So لِزَيْدٍ is a mukhatab. But sometimes it has the meaning of an, which gives the meaning more of regarding. So the lam can come in the meaning of regarding. So for example, وَقَالَ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا. الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا is the fa'il. Or الَّذِينَ itself is the fa'il, كَفَرُوا is the sila. Now they have here lam. They have the particle here, lam. Then after الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا لَوْ كَانَ خَيْرًا مَا سَبَقُونَا إِلَيْهِ. Now if the mukhatab وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا, what would it have been? لَوْ كَانَ خَيْرًا مَا سَبَقْتُمُونَا إِلَيْهِ. Had it been good, you would not have reached it before us, or it would not have come to you towards it. Yes? It would not have come to you leaving us. So this means here they're not speaking, the الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا are not speaking to the الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا. They're not speaking to the الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا. Rather what they're saying, they are saying this statement regarding الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا. Do you understand? So the disbelievers, they said regarding the believers, had this iman and this prophethood been good, لو كان خيرا, had it been good, ما سبقونا إليه, they would not have surpassed us. So that's why it's a ghaib. It's a ghaibun sigha. Had it been the lam for mukhatab, it would have been the disbelievers said to those who believe, had it been good, you would not have surpassed us in reaching this. So that's why we know here that this lam is not in the meaning of the lamut tabligh. the lam which is used to show the maf'ul or the mukhatab of the qawl. Rather, this lam is to show in the meaning of an. Do you understand? Ji. But tazmeen is included in the za'idah. So the question is, how do we know it's not tazmeen? It could be tazmeen. So it could be tazmeen. It could be tazmeen. Because this basically saying this lam is not a harfun jar sila of radifa. So it could be tazmeen. If it's tazmeen, they could count it as za'idah. Okay? Ji. Next, any other questions? Yes. And he said, وَفِيهِ نَذْرٌ. The muhashshi, the people who wrote hashiyas on this never discussed this. So maybe in terms of lam tabligh, I don't know what his issue is with this. And commentators have not mentioned this. And that's it. So what is his problem with this? Or what is his issue with this? I don't know. So I don't know what fihi nadhrun is referring to. So fihi nadhrun is the Urdu's meaning. And there's some thoughts needed regarding this. What is it? I don't know. Okay. The next example we have here, وَبِمَعْنَا come to the next page. وَبِمَعْنَا الْوَاوِ فِي الْقَسَمِ لِلتَّعَجُّبِ. Sometimes the lam, very rarely, the lam comes in the meaning of wawul qasam, when it's for ta'ajjub. Okay? So for example, is a person from the tribe of Banu Huzayl, so the Huzali poet, he says, Lillahi. So the istishhad is in here. That lillahi means what? By Allah. Okay? By Allah. So because why now? This lam is in which meaning? The qasam meaning. So he's saying here, by Allah. So, lillahi. So this is not for Allah. This is the meaning of qasam. It's not common, but he's mentioned it here. You understand the istishhad? What he's trying to prove? Okay. The next part is saying here, يَبْقَى عَلَى الْأَيَّامِ ذُو حَيْدٍ بِمُشْمَخِرٍ بِهِ الذَّيَّانُ وَالْآسُ. So baqiya yabqa is to remain. To remain. Okay, or we can say here, to stay alive. To stay alive. عَلَى الْأَيَّامِ you can say here, despite ayyam, ay murul ayyam, despite passing of days. Now again here, actually what's happening, if you look at it here, lan is mahdhuf here. It's understood from the context. Okay? He removed it, it can be understood from the context. We don't have context, we don't have the whole poem. We don't know the whole passage, so we can't derive that. But if you look at it in the context, you would know that this is not talking about remaining, it's talking about not remaining. So he says, by Allah, who is the fa'il? ذُو حَيْدٍ بِمُشْمَخِرٍ بِهِ الذَّيَّانُ وَالْآسُ. So ذُو حَيْد is the fa'il. ذُو حَيْد is the fa'il. And بِمُشْمَخِرٍ بِهِ الذَّيَّانُ وَالْآسُ is the na'at of ذُو حَيْد. And حَيْد is ذُو sahib, qurun, horns. You know, you have those cartoons with the horns of the sheep with the horns that are very curly. So he's saying here, al-hayd al-huyud, hurufu qarnin al-qurun al-wa'al. So the edges of the mountain goats' horns are called the hayd. So basically the one that is horned, the horned sheep. And the man'ut is mahdhuf, it's answered from the context. When he says dhu hayd, only one thing that has dhu hayd on a mountain is what? Goat, mountain goat. So there's no need to mention the man'ut. So dhu hayd, sheep, basically mountain sheep, mountain goats. Where are these mountain goats? بِمُشْمَخِرٍ إِشْمَخَرَّ يَشْمَخِرُّ إِشْمِخْرَارًا like إِشْمَعَزَّ يَشْمَئِزُّ إِشْمِئِزَازًا. Meaning what? Their faces, they get annoyed. So مُشْمَخِرَّ إِشْمَخَرَّ to be tala, to be long and tall. So here it means a murtafi, any high and elevated place. So we're talking about dhu hayd and a mushmakhir, a murtafi place. What does mushmakhir refer to now here?
Why is that impermissible?
What's it going to refer to?
Number one.
We're talking about mountain goat, so mushmakhir refers to?
Is there actually meat in here or not?
A mountain or a hill, mountain. And ba is darfiya, meaning what? Darfiya in the meaning of place, mushmakhirin, place. Okay? And then the na'at of the mushmakhirin, this is the na'at of mushmakhirin. bihi الذيان والآس, which have Dayan and As, two types of flowers. Dayan is called clematis, clematis, I've got no idea, it looks like that, but there's many different variations, types of flowers. And As, myrtus, I have got no idea, something like this, but again, basically flowers. So what he's saying here, by Allah, the mountain goat will not remain, will not stay alive after, on the passing of time in a mountain which has clematis and myrtus flowers. Meaning everybody's going to die. He's going to die, we're going to die. Which was a very complex words to give a very simple message. We can say, كُلُّ مَنْ عَلَيْهَا فَانٍ, is sorted. But anyways, he says, لِلَّهِ يَبْقَى عَلَى الْأَيَّامِ ذُو حَيْدٍ بِمُشْمَخِرٍ بِهِ الذَّيَّانُ وَالْآسُ. By Allah, despite the passing of, or on the passing of time, or against the passing of time, a horned sheep will not be able to live, survive in mountains which have Dayan and As flowers. Meaning that animal will also die, we will also die. Nobody can remain forever. So the istishhad is lillahi. Have you understood the poem?
If you were to say that 2 liters, that's what I sell you, that's fine. That transaction is done. But you know,
Hiyadin.
this is like, no, that's what I'm saying. You know these
Dhu hiyad. If it's dhu hiyad, it's
scenarios.
I don't know, in the copy is hiyad. And the books I looked into is hiyad. I never researched it because I thought it was haid. Haid in the dictionary says haid and huyud is the huruf. It could be hiyad, I don't know. I could be wrong on this one. When I check off, obviously the video will stop at that time. Just double check this on your own to make sure. It could be hiyad, it could be haid, I'm not sure. I never checked it up, I thought it was haid. Okay, any other questions?
Yeah, it's impossible.
Okay.
But even then, they'll come up with a masla.
Rubba. The next word he's discussing is rubba. وَهِيَ لِلتَّقْلِيلِ. It is what? For taqleel, to show very seldom, very few. But him saying taqleel is also for takthir. So it's for both. It can be used for taqleel and takthir, to show less, or it can be used to show a lot. It's both. And again, context will help you determine. كَمَا أَنَّ كَمِ الْخَبَرِيَّةِ لِتَكْثِير. He's saying here, just as you have kam khabariya to show abundance of something, use the rubba to show less of something. Good, that's the meaning of it. So rubba is for taqleel, but if you look at other books, they will say it comes for takthir as well, and the context will help you understand what it's for. وَتَسْتَحِقُّ رُبَّ صَدْرَ الْكَلَامِ. And rubba is like harful istifham, etc. It must come at the beginning of the sentence. Okay? So you must have sadr al-kalam, you must have the beginning position of the sentence, as opposed to the other hurufun jarra, which come anywhere. This always comes at the beginning. And he says, وَلَا تَدْخُلُ إِلَّا عَلَى. It only comes in a few words. عَلَى نَكِرَةٍ مَوْصُوفَةٍ. It must be a rubba, beginning of sentence. And this is a nakira word. And this also becomes what? A mawsoof. Because the word after it is the sifa, the nat. So the word after rubba must be a nakira. And this nakira must always be mawsufa, describe or have additional details with it. Number 1. Second possibility is mudmar, and it's mubham, mufrad and mudhakkar, but then mumayyazin bin nakiratin mansuba. So look at this one here. You have rubba. You can have rubbata, but it's a mistake, not rubbata, rubba. So you have what? It's mudmar. The majroor is a zamir. So it comes onto a mudmar. It is mubham. Like they say we have ni'ma or sa'ad mathala. So you have a tamyiz to create more emphasis. So you make it nakira, then you make it mubham. It is mubham, mufrad and mudhakkar always. Then it is clarified, mumayyaz bi nakira. It is clarified by a nakira word. So for example, I want to say rubba rajulin. But instead of saying rubba rajulin, a more emphatic and a more flavored way of saying it is rubbahu rajula. But this is always mufrad and mudhakkar, despite what the word is. You want to say rubbahuma rajulain. You say rubbahu rajulain, wa rubbahu rijal, wa rubbahu imra'atan. Kadhalik. You say rubbahu imra'atan kadhalik, like this as well. You always say, so the rubbahu will always have one dhamir hu. And then this will change according to what you are addressing, and the tamyiz will change, but the hu dhamir will remain the same in all cases. This is according to Ahlul Basra. Ahlul Kufa say no, the dhamir will tajibul mutabaqa. So you have to say rubbahuma rajulain, rubbahum rijalan, wa rubbaha imra'atan. Okay, two opinions regarding this zamir. But I think the first one is more common, more accepted. Okay? Following so far? Any questions?
Basic question, what is the amar, what is the nahi, what's the pattern? Just to
So rubba rajulin laqituhu, I have met very few men. So taqleel, rubba rajulin laqituhu, I have met very few men. Okay, rubba rajulin laqituhu, I have met very few men. Okay, and he's going to explain it here in a bit more detail in here. He's saying here, وَلَا بُدَّ لَهَا مِنْ فَعْلٍ مَاضٍ. He's saying here that we have, so again, لأن رب للتقليل المحقق فيه وهو لا يتحقق إلا به. He's saying here that rubba gives the meaning of taqleel, but a certainty in taqleel. And what is the most certain? Past or future? Future tense, we don't know what's going to happen in the future. So when we want to show something that has definitely happened, we use the word rubba. So when you want to show taqleel, which is certain, you use rubba. And this rubba has to be fi'l ma'adhi, because the taqleel is only muhakkak certain. Because rubba is for taqleel, opposite of abundance, which is less, which is muhakkak fi, which is certain. So rubba is only used for taqleel, which is certain. Uncertainty is not accepted, or certainty does not come about except with what? Fi'l ma'adhi. If you don't have fi'l ma'adhi, there is no certainty. So therefore, you can't use rubba. You have to use rubba with fi'l ma'adhi. Correct? So in the example, rubba rajulin laqituhu. You can't say rubba rajulin sa'alqi. Yes? Yes, sa'alqa, sorry. Rubba rajulin sa'alqa. Yes? So وَيُحْذَفُ ذَلِكَ الْفَعْلُ غَالِبًا. And he's saying this verb is usually removed. For example, so رُبَّ رَجُلٍ أَكْرَمَنِي. If you say رُبَّ رَجُلٍ أَكْرَمَنِي, very few people have honored me. So if somebody said to you, هَلْ لَقِيتَ مَنْ أَكْرَمَكَ? هَلْ لَقِيتَ مَنْ أَكْرَمَكَ? Yes, somebody said to you, have you met somebody who has honored you? What would you say? رُبَّ رَجُلٍ أَكْرَمَنِي. How would this mean? رُبَّ رَجُلٍ أَكْرَمَنِي لَقِيتُهُ. So this verb is the one that's mahdhuf. So very few people who have honored you. So this is a na'at. Because remember, this is nakira mawsufa. So this is not the khabar. I might even translate the first one wrong. So this is the jar. This is the majroor. Okay? And now this akramani is a na'at of the rajul. So because it becomes the na'at of the rajul. So very few men who have, because this is a na'at, this is not the khabar. So rubba rajulin akramani laqituhu. So very few men who have honored me, I have met them. I have met, so you translate it as, I have met very few people who have honored me. So for akramani sifatul rajul, this is a na'at, a sifa of the rajul, and walaqituhu fa'luha wa huwa mahdhufun. So in here, if you have rubba rajulin akramani, what we say here? Rubba is, this is what? Jar majroor, man'ut. This becomes the na'at, and jar majroor, and then this becomes the laqituhu, this becomes the muta'alliq and linked to laqituhu. So the main verb is usually mahzuf after it, according to his i'rab. Yes? Do you understand? And this verb is mahzuf. أي وهو محذوف. لقيته فعلها هو محذوف. لقيته is the verb of the harf jar, and that is محذوف. Okay, so let's try another example. Let's say, for example, so for example, you say here, رب كتاب أعجبني. So very few books have really had a great impression on me. That's not really good. Many books. So you say here, رب رجل أعجبني. رب رجل أعجبني. Everybody's got good qualities, but on a whole, رب رجل, very few people have أعجبني, very few men have really appealed to me. So now we have a أعجبني. This is not the khabar. This is not the muta'alliq. رب can't muta'alliq to أعجب, because this is actually the na'at. Because remember, rubba only enters on or only precedes a nakira mawsufa. This is a na'at of this man'ut. So what's rubba muta'alliq to? Rubba is muta'alliq to what? Here, fi'lun mahdhufin. And how do you know what the fi'l mahdhuf is? Our favorite card of the jail card, qarina and context. And the context you have will determine what is being mentioned. Understood? Any questions? Have you understood this rubba? Are you processing it? Where? Which one? This line here.
Five penalties for.
So if you go back here. So we have rubba rajulin laqituhu. This one here, yes? So then what would you have here? This would be, how would you do the i'rab of it? Rubba is a jar, rajul is a majroor. But then what is laqituhu become? It's a na'at. This becomes a man'ut. And then this becomes what? Linked to a hidden verb. Understood from the context. No. Not according to what he's saying here.
See, some people to get the price, you get this.
Yes. So so in your books, if you got here rubba rajulin karimin laqituhu, and that's different then. So rubba rajulin karimin laqitu. If you have this one, then it becomes what? Rubba rajulin karimin. This becomes the man'ut. This becomes the na'at. That becomes the majroor, and this becomes the muta'alliq linked to laqituhu. Do you understand? Does that make sense? Okay, so if you have the karimin after it, that means rubba rajulin karimin. That becomes the nakib. You must have a na'at after it. The na'at is there. Yes. Even in this example, you have here. You have as well in here rubba rajulin karimin as well here. Akramani or no? Do you have karimin here? I would think not. Yeah. Okay. So if you've got a na'at after it, and that na'at takes the place, you have to have a na'at after rajul, whether it's a mufrad na'at or a jumla na'at. And then the jumla after it, whether it's mentioned or not mentioned, will be what the rubba is linked to. Okay? Yes? Okay. Now he's saying here, what he's done now, he's saying a wow of rubba. So what he's done, he said, well, wow comes in the meaning of rubba. There's a wow harfun jar in the meaning of rubba. Other scholars have simply said, you know what? There's no wow of rubba. There's wow and rubba is mahdhuf. So I'll explain to you shortly. So he's saying here, wow rubba according to him is a harfun jar. وهي التي تبتدأ بها في أول الكلام. And it is the rubba with which you initiate the kalam. كقول الشاعر. So وبلدة. Why is بلدة majroor? It's not qasam. He's saying here wa is the meaning of rubba. So wow means rubba. Other opinions no, wow doesn't mean rubba. Wow is atf and rubba is mahdhuf. Whether you hold yours this way, whether you hold it that way, it's the same thing. Well, it's different philosophies. But after wow you can have a majroor and the meaning of rubba is shown. Whether the wow shows the meaning or whether the hidden rubba shows the meaning, that's the difference of the nuhat. Understood? So وَبَلْدَةٍ لَيْسَ بِهَا أَنِيسُ إِلَّا الْيَعَافِيرُ وَإِلَّا الْإِيسُ. So many a city, many a village, many a town. لَيْسَ بِهَا أَنِيسُ. Anisu is what? Somebody who you take comfort, who takes solace, who you spend your time with, who brings you comfort. So many a city. لَيْسَ بِهَا أَنِيسُ. There's no anis in that city. There's no person to comfort me. Except إِلَّا الْيَعَافِيرُ وَإِلَّا الْإِيسُ. Except the ya'afir, except the east. This is marfu' because it's badal. Remember we had? If you have a istisna in a negative sentence, it says the sentence before it is غير موجب. And the mustasna minhu is mentioned. You have two ways of saying it. You can say here إِلَّا الْيَعَافِيرَ وَإِلَّا الْعِيسَى, or you can say إِلَّا الْيَعَافِيرُ على البدل منسوب للإستثناء, or tabi' to the mustasna minhu. And here he's got ya'afiru. It's a badal of anis. Except ya'afir. Ya'afir, the plural of ya'fur, and ya'fur means Arabian gazelle. So many a cities, many a town, there's nobody in direct comfort except illa al-ya'afiru wa illa al-isu. And is the plural of a'yas, and a'yas means a color, a camel of white color mixed with the red, so make a white and a reddish color. Okay, so the istisna is muttasil or munqati'. It can be different depending how you want to think about it. So he's saying here, so the istishhad is waballatin, many a village, many a town. Okay. ليس بها أنيس إلا اليعافير وإلا العيس. Okay? And then after that we have the particles of qasam. Wa'ul qasam, ba'ul qasam, ta'ul qasam. We discuss that in next lesson inshallah. Any questions so far? بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم. So we had missed out one sentence. Let me just go through that. We have here وقد تلحقها ماء الكافة فتدخل على الجملتين. The rubba can be attached, or the word ma al-kafa can be attached to rubba, just as ma al-kafa can come onto inna and anna and ka'anna. Ma al-kafa can also come onto the particle harfun jar of rubba, and therefore it can come onto a jumla ismiya or jumla fa'liya. When rubba is mukhaffafa, when rubba does not have ma al-kafa, it has to be, and is only allowed to precede a harf, a majroor. Rubba rajulin, example. But when you have rubba with ma kafa after it, then it doesn't have to be followed by an ism. You can have a jumla fa'liya after it, a jumla ismiya after it. And he gives an example here. Nahw rubbama qama zaydun wa rubbama zaydun qa'imun. So here he's got rubbama here. And he says here, rubbama, because of the ma al-kafa, it can come onto jumla fa'liya, and it can also come onto a jumlatun ismiya. So rubbama qama zaydun. You follow it? Okay? And one rule he's not mentioned in the book is that وَقَدْ تُخَفَّفُ بَاؤُهَا, that the rubba become ruba. You can do takhfif of this. Okay? So for example, رُبَمَا يَوَدُّ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا لَوْ كَانُوا مُسْلِمِينَ. So rubbama becomes, so rubba then has rubba ma with the ma kafa, and then you can also have takhfif. So rubama. So rubama was really rubba ma. Rubba harfun jar, ma is a kafa, and a rubba means sometimes. Now the question that might come up here is that يَوَدُّ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا لَوْ كَانُوا مُسْلِمِينَ is not a fi'l madi. And in the previous slide we said that the rubba must have a fi'l madi. So the tawjih that some mufassirun have given is that yawaddu is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given his ikhbar. And ikhbar of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala of a future events is like fi'l madi. So therefore it's like certainty. So when Allah says يَوَدُّ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا, they will, it's almost like a certainty. It is certainty because Allah is relating a news of the unseen, which we are not aware of. So when Allah says this, then it's definite. That's why it's like a fi'l madi. This is ta'wil. We're going to say this is one example, which is exempt, or the other ways we can interpret it as such. Understood?